everybody. Welcome back to We Are the Batman. I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
And this week we are taking a look at Absolute Wonder Woman #1. That's right, you boys finally read it. And we can finally talk about it. It's a great time of year to, we've been saying this before, it's a great time to be a DC fan. There's just so much good stuff out and so much good stuff coming. We haven't done this in a bit. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm making plans for holidays and wearing my my favorite jersey. I know everybody's gonna be mad, but you know, look, it's a classic. It's a Mean Joe Green. Okay, so old school fan here. Yes, I'm not aged to remember watching him play football.
For those who don't know, I'm in Ohio, so this is such an affront to me that he's wearing that jersey right now.
That's right. Wait, what team is up there? Because I'm bad about this.
None of them are getting good, but the Browns and the Bengals do not like the Steelers.
I don't think anybody likes the Steelers.
Nobody likes the Steelers. Pittsburgh sucks. Philly's that.
The funny thing is, I remember wearing it one day and then wondering here in Houston, like, why am I getting dirty looks? And I'm like, there's no rivalry between the Texans and the Steelers, but who was here before?
Right? Exactly.
The Oilers. The Oilers were here before, and there was a big rivalry. So yeah, and it's funny because like if I wear it out in public every so often, we are
delving into like the shallowest puddle of sports knowledge that I have right now. Like it's basically this and the '90s Cleveland, then Indians, now Guardians. It's like that's what I got for you. That's the one of my sports knowledge, and wrestling for some reason. I don't know what it is. Anyway, before we go into that, and I do also want to say shout out a couple of people who recently commented they subbed on our Absolute Batman episode. At Noah5110 and also at Crack Kills 1, and it does. And also at TSHEPORABEKANE4172. That feels like a name from another country that I won't even try to pronounce. So thank you guys. Thank you everybody for the subs and for letting us know you subbed in the comments. We appreciate that. And if you haven't done so, I mean, just go ahead, just because then we'll do this. We'll shout you out. If you're on YouTube, and if you're in the podcast, just sub anyway. And I don't know, let us know on social media that you subbed at WATV Pod. Let us know, I guess. But Absolute Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Absolute Wonder Woman. Good book.
Well, and because when this first was announced, I put these all on my box at my comic book store.
Yeah.
You had a bit of you never were able, well, eventually, but
I was eventually able to. It took me a bit to get a hold of I had to borrow a copy from a friend to read it for the show. So yeah, and then I was like, okay, I guess it's time to set up a poll list. So I went for the first time, but I talked about it. First time in 10 years, I have a poll list at my comic book store now. And so I set up for anything Absolute DC. I also set up for current runs of Nightwing, Batman, and Detective Comics. The reason we're doing that is because, as we talked about in our New York Comic-Con video, as well as in a previous DC breaking news video, with Tom Taylor moving over to Detective Comics after coming off of a multi-Eisner Award-winning run on Nightwing.
Yeah,
and then the dream team of Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb coming back together for a sequel to Hush. So yeah, we're trying to stay current on some of the runs in DC, especially because as we also realized, Penguin's not going on right now. We get a little bit of a break, and then right into December we get Creature Commandos. That carries us into January, and we got fuck all till June. So we're going to be leaning heavy into some comics and some other fringe DC stuff outside of just Batman for those times where there is just not a ton going on.
Well, unless given James Gunn's record or track record, He could
Yeah.
run us all suddenly. Oh, by the way, it's May, April. You guys haven't had anything. You know what? We were lying. Here's this, and something drops.
Well, we know that, and I don't have it in front of me, but I saw earlier that somebody else was cast in a supporting role in Lanterns. So we have that. Not in any character like another Lantern. It was just another like supporting character. So yes, anything can happen, but just as far as what we know right now, it's like, okay, well, let's get into some comics, and DC's been cooking so hard with comics lately. And after we again ate just a monumental amount of crow, record breaking even, with our Absolute Batman review, we were like, all right, Absolute Wonder Woman, you're next. And then Absolute Superman's coming up next week. So we'll have that.
We're a week out from this.
Yeah, we're recording this on Wednesday, October 30th, but at this point. So we are a week out from the drop of Superman #1, which we will be dropping for you guys. We are going to turn that around so fast.
So happy Halloween tomorrow for you, Mike. But yesterday for everybody listening.
Yeah. And for everybody else who's getting to this whenever they get to this, a joyous regular Tuesday afternoon in June to you. Name that movie down in the comments when you subscribe on your way down to comment. It's from the first Deadpool. Anyway. Absolute Wonder Woman. Absolute Wonder Woman. What a book, man. What a book.
You know, I will say this. I've tried reading Wonder Woman several times. Like when New 52 did their reboot, when Rebirth did their reboot, even going back to some of the George Perez stuff, and I've never been able to get into her regular run book. This was interesting.
I think go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's just like they did with Batman. This is just a different enough take that you're like, I want to see where this goes, but not so drastic where the character is unrecognizable.
And having a character that's based in such a vast mythology, there's so many directions you can take it. There's so many things you can do. Yeah. And so the idea of sending her to hell as a baby, burying her past in mystery, and having her raised reluctantly by Cersei is, you're basically giving her the Batman treatment. You've taken an Amazon and given them the Batman treatment. Like, okay, fine. Well, then we'll murder Wonder Woman's parents and have her raised by a surrogate of some kind that, you know, in this most tragic way. When you look at like this darker version of Wonder Woman we got, it's like, yeah, what if Batman was an Amazon that didn't have a problem with, but again, doesn't kill. Remember, like says like they're only stunned. So either the sword has no effect, it isn't lethal, or these are some big baddies, but just so much. There's just so much. There's so much to unpack with this. Oh my God.
No, I think again, this is where the Batman did a good job of let's change these things, but I don't feel like they hard turned on Batman specifically. Like they just plopped him out of this setting, put him in this setting, but he's the same. Which was
something that we brought up in our preliminary talk of like, how much are they, because we brought that up of like, if you change too much, it's no longer Batman. It's just some other character entirely. This still feels like Wonder Woman.
Still feels like Wonder Woman, but there is zero the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, she was made from clay. That might be kind of what happens.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I liked, because there's certain things, and, you know, I only read it once, but if I'm misstepping on this, I know they didn't destroy and kill the Amazons. They're just punishing them. So nothing says down the line she doesn't go back to Themyscira, and we've got some weird stuff going on there too.
We've got 5 issues of this. And let me just say, shout out to DC for being very economic with how they use their pages. They are so good. They have gotten so good at pacing. Yeah. Like they pack a lot of story into an average amount of pages, give or take. I mean, it's about the same as always, but I mean, they're packing a lot. And this Wonder Woman doesn't shy away from the splash pages, and they still don't. they show enough, they tell them. They show when they need to show, and they tell when they need to tell.
Well, and I think with an origin like this, there are certain aspects of it that we don't need the every single moment day to day, especially with Wonder Woman. Like, she doesn't have a complicated origin. You know, it's like, hey, she's an Amazonian. This is why she has superpowers. Boom, you're done. Like, now put her in the setting. So I think that's where it's a little bit easier to kind of get into. Sorry, I realized I didn't silence my phone. But I think that was what I really appreciated about this, is it was just like, oh wow, like they did enough different that we've got a completely different visual of her.
Mm-hmm.
The magic, like actually having magic powers and not just magical weapons, I think is really, really cool. Because I think I can't recall if I said this before, but I thought when the coolest thing that they did with Wonder Woman in Reboot was put her in Justice League Dark, which was like the Justice League magic.
Oh, you don't have to explain it to me.
Yeah, I'm explaining to everybody.
For the folks at home who don't know.
Yeah. So
I think you want to know what my favorite spinoff of Justice League is.
Yeah.
It's the one where Constantine's in charge.
Yeah, precisely. But I just thought, like, how did we never think to do this?
Mm-hmm.
She is nothing but magic. So to see them actually lean even further into the magic, I think is really cool. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that kind of stuff unfolds as we go forward.
By all means, because similar, I've read, I could not tell you which ones, but when I was first actually getting into comics, I read two collected of the two trades of the George Perez's run. And I read I think I read one trade of the new, I didn't mind her New 52, but the trade I read was later in the series. So it was like, I think they had figured it out more. The writing on her, from what I remember from like that early Justice League and New 52, was not awesome. But this is what, so correct me if I'm wrong here. What I'm trying to get to is, I'm pretty sure the like bracelet shockwave thing was a Zack Snyder creation, wasn't it? Or was that from the comics?
No, that's the movies.
That was one of the things he introduced where I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. That actually, no, kind of like when you take like Thor's hammer and hit Captain America's shield with it and it does a cool shit. It's like, yeah, that tracks. Yeah, no, that actually makes a lot of sense. So when you see her do that with her shield or her bracelets, it's like, yeah, I mean, God magic would do that. That actually tracks. So like seeing that now folded into the comics, unless they've done it since, they may have done it in the comics since BVS. I couldn't tell you. Let us know down below. But if you're on YouTube, but seeing that used the way it was in this for just that one, it was Joker going, bring it on, you son of a bitch. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
No, so cool.
Yeah. I think, again, that's that whole thing of like, let her have other things. Like, cause there is a time.
Let Wonder Woman cook.
Well, cause there's a time when you go pre New 52. And even before then, like, Wonder Woman's just female Superman. She really is, for the longest time. She flies, she's super strong, she's invulnerable, but for some reason uses her bracelets to block bullets, whatever. So I think that giving her something completely different, and they've kind of done that with these kind of other little reboots of like, now she has a sword, now she has a shield, now she's doing this, she's, leaning into the warrior thing. So I like this, like, magician warrior, crazy from hell, awesome looking Wonder Woman. The fact that she finally has pants, I don't know why it took so long for us to give her pants.
We tried with Adrian Pilecki's pilot that Joss Whedon wrote, but Joss Whedon wrote it, so it was what it was.
Well, my thing, like I've said it before, but having a girl in a miniskirt next to four of the guys who are completely armored just looks stupid.
It does. It looks dumb. It does look dumb. Yeah. Giving her, like, I appreciate truly what Zack Snyder did to make it look more warrior-like. Like, it wasn't just a skirt. It was like an armor. Like I appreciated what he did to really just like address that issue. It's like, how do you take this costume and make it look not dumb next to everybody else? You know, same with like the Flash. You know, same with a lot of superhero costumes. You got to make it look not dumb. You know,
they almost did it in New 52. There's promo art with her having pants, and it was like suddenly they were gone.
But honestly, even the like leotard she had was an improvement. That looked like that. I will say, one of the best things New 52 did, the Wonder Woman redesign was very good. That Wonder Woman redesign was excellent. It was very good.
My wife's costume was based on.
Exactly. And speaking of redesigns, like the tats, the Final Fantasy VII Buster sword, like the demon Pegasus that can fight. I texted you, and that's what's so funny about this was you texted me about Absolute Batman and said, yo, this is really good and worth reading. And then I'm the one that texted you and said, yo, Absolute Wonder Woman reads like an action movie.
Yeah.
In the best way possible.
Yeah. Because I had it for a full day, and then I took it to the martial arts studio and just read it while the kids were doing karate. Yeah. And I was just like, no, this is really cool. Like and again, this is what a reboot should be. It's different enough that you've got a different look. There's different things going on, but it's not, you can't, when you look at that picture, it's still Wonder Woman. When I read the comic, she's still Wonder Woman. It's not a drastic change. So if you guys haven't picked this up,
I mean, and I want to take a minute to shout out the writer on this, Kelly Thompson, who, like a lot of the writers on all of these, spent the majority of her career with Marvel.
Yeah.
She has her Marvel comics bibliography is long. A lot of Hawkeye, Jessica Jones, lot of Captain Marvel, Deadpool, Black Widow, Uncanny X-Men, West Coast Avengers, Captain Marvel and the A-Force. I mean, wrote on Star Wars Annual Volume 2. I mean, she's done a lot with Marvel, as well as Dark Horse and Image and IDW. Her run with DC has only been, she did an issue of Harley Quinn, Black, White, and Redder, and she was the lead writer on the current run of Birds of Prey. Which I think is probably what was the kick in the door for her on Absolute Wonder Woman. But what an absolute testament to her work this is. So it just in one issue, it's like, yes, this is why you got the job.
Yeah, somebody had made a comment on social media about like, why is it that Marvel's bad now and DC is good? And I was like, because it's the 10-year sway.
It's 10-year sway. It happens all the time.
This Marvel does really, really well, and then DC goes, let's hire all those people, and then those people go to DC.
Something I thought of, or that happened when I went and signed up for my poll list, I signed up for like 4 or 5 DC titles, and so I asked the guy, I was like, "What's good in Marvel right now? Like what's?" And now I'm going to go back when I go back to pick up my stuff this week. I'm going to go sign up for Ultimate Spider-Man. But I asked the Discord I was in, that was the one thing that got recommended, because of course it did, because Ultimate Spider-Man's never bad. But he's like, Marvel's just doing what DC did a couple years ago, which is like everyone's switching projects right now. I know that one of the things Marvel's doing that I think is really cool is they're doing Red Band comics, which is for stuff like Blade.
Yeah.
Which is like, hey, if you want your kids to be able to read Blade, here's this. If you want to read Blade as an adult with the extra blood and gore and uncensored language, here's the ones that are in a package with a red stripe on it.
Yeah.
So I think Marvel's just, but I also feel like, and we were talking about this on the phone the other day, like we are in such an interesting transitional period right now with DC and Marvel. When you look at how somebody from Marvel has now, the MCU has now existed in long enough for someone to rise through their ranks and go become the head of a, for lack of a better term, competing studio.
Yeah.
Like that's how, and this is competing just in the business sense of it. Like this was an amicable, like this was the mentor watched his student rise and become a master of his own kind of thing. We were saying on the phone today, there's no way James Gunn and Kevin Feige aren't texting each other in a group text saying like, hey, let's not screw each other on marketing.
Yeah.
That way we can all make a lot of money.
Mhm.
And I can't help but feel like similar conversations are happening between James Gunn and Jim Lee of like, hey, don't forget, lots of good people over at Marvel. You know, let's start pulling some people and getting some fresh eye, you know. And I'm sure Jim Lee is seeing what James Gunn is doing over with the movie side, him and Peter, and is saying, all right, because Jim Lee's a smart guy. And for Jim Lee to give Scott Snyder to give Scott Snyder, right, who's running Absolute, for a second I almost said Jeff Johns, and I was like, that's not correct. I was like, give Scott Snyder the reign to say, hey man, take this thing and see what you can do with it, or whatever the plan was behind it. And he let Kelly Thompson take a hold of this Absolute Wonder Woman, and just she cooked.
No, and I think that's the thing is, I think, look, as much as some people may want to crap on where the Ultimate Universe ended up going, like,
it is what it is.
But what I'm saying is, there's a reason those titles ran forever before the combined. Like, they were some really good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff that came out of that. Now, again, it kind of turned to status quo, and that's why they melded. And the new Ultimate stuff is very interesting. That one they definitely did like a let's throw things in the air and see where they fall and have some fun with it. But no, I think Absolute Wonder Woman, this is the second time absolute banger in this Absolute universe. I'm more excited for Absolute Superman now.
Oh god, I'm so ready. The writer from the book, whose name I am now pulling up in front of me because I had it and then I lost it. Jason Aaron posted on Threads earlier he had some of the issues in front of him, and he was like, comes out next week, are y'all ready? And I was like, no. No, I'm not ready. I mean, I am, but no. I'm like 2 out of 2 so far, guys.
Well, and again, I think we talked about, was it you and I talked about on the phone of like, no, it wasn't you. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it now. It's like the coolest thing that My Adventures of Superman did was lean into the fact that Superman has technology from his people, that it's a different, he's not just wearing, he's an alien. He's got alien stuff. Yeah. That's what it looks like this is. You know, we're long past the fact that Ma Kent made his costume.
Yeah.
When you come into a reboot like this. So
it's great for a bit. Like it's great for Lois and Clark. You know what I mean? It's great for the Silver Age.
But I think with this, if this is what they've done with Absolute Wonder Woman, if this is what they did with Superman, what they did with this, then we're gonna get all into like alien tech and alien costume.
I can't wait.
I'm intrigued beyond now where they're going with Martian Manhunter.
I don't even know. I don't even have a clue. Oh my! And Flash, and we know Green Lantern's going to be Hal, John, and what's the new one? What's her name? Shit, that's going to drive me nuts.
That's not her name.
No, it's not. Joe Moline. That's right. Oh, and Guy Gardner.
Yeah. The Green Lanterns reboot's going to be a group thing, which is cool. Kind of flow with what they're doing in the DCU. But I think that this was really fun. It was really interesting. It was really like, again, that thing of, you know, let's go beyond her having magical tools. Let's make her have magic and abilities. And it looks great. She looks badass, you know? So yeah, you guys, what do you guys think of this? Is everybody on board with this? Like they were absolute Batman? Let
us know down below if you're here on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe when you do that, because the button's on the way down to the comments. I mean, just
subscribe.
Just do it. Something else too, like as we're talking about the other stuff in the Absolute universe as it's coming up, I'm pulling up there's more information's come out about them since Comic-Con. So Absolute Flash is actually going to be focused on Wally West.
Works for me.
Unlike other interpretations, there is no Speed Force in this one.
Interesting.
And I really don't like doing this on the regular podcast, but I'm gonna have to do it because this image we did not see when we did our Comic-Con wrap up.
Okay.
Which is this shot here of Wally as the Flash.
Interesting. Okay.
That, for those who are maybe listening to the audio version, we're seeing a young kid. I mean, I think it says in the thing he's like a teenager.
That's cool.
Running through what looks like the Speed Force, but obviously it's just their version of him running fast. But it looks almost like the lightning bolt is like in his chest, and he's just So I really can't wait to know more about that. And it looks like that one is slated to come out in March of next year. Is what we got here so far.
Oh, okay. Yes.
July. So March. So Absolute Flash is March 5th. Absolute Green Lantern is March 12th, and then Absolute Martian Manhunter is also in March. So we are there. We're getting a break for January through February, and then in March we start cooking again.
Yeah,
well,
but do you see?
Let me rephrase that. We're not getting new number ones.
Correct.
For January through March, we're getting the rest of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. It seems like.
Yes, all cool. I like those two bottom parts.
The TBAs.
Yes.
because me thinks one of those is an Aquaman. And me thinks or well, no, me thinks one of those is an Aquaman and one of those is a Justice League. Because then that's all 7 and then the Justice League. That's the OG 7 and the Justice League.
You don't think there's going to be an absolute cyborg?
I mean, it could be.
I hope not.
Justice League. I mean, it could be anything. Maybe it's Absolute Constantine. Who knows? But no, I think more than likely it's Aquaman and Justice League. But also talk a little bit more about Martian Manhunter. So this is interesting. The series focuses on FBI agent John Jones as his body is taken over by an alien consciousness referred to as a Martian, causing him to slowly go insane.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot wait to read that. That sounds
that's cool.
That shit crazy. No pun intended. That sounds really cool. And the Green Lantern one is the series focuses on Joe Moline, Hal Jordan, John Stewart, and Guy Gardner after a large green lantern falls from the sky and crushes a town, causing widespread paranoia. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we have to look forward to from the rest of Absolute DC. I'm so excited.
Yeah. And, dude, yes. Let's bring it and let's see where this goes. And how long? Well, see, this is I know we're going so off subject of Wonder Woman, but I'm going to put this out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they quickly did the New 52 in the DVD directed DVD movies. I'm wondering.
Don't go there. No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to even begin thinking about that because I don't want to get my expectations too high.
But I honestly think it's done. Like the fact that there's no new releases after this third.
I feel like this goes back to that whole like texts between James Gunn and Jim Lee. Like Jim Lee texts James Gunn in the middle of the night and is like, "Hey, I talked to Scott today. He's got this thing called Absolute DC. It's pretty good, man." And James is like, "All right, let me know when you want a movie." Yeah. Let me know when you want to make an animated movie. I'll get Peter to write the check.
Though we haven't done it yet, we did say that there would be Elseworld stuff.
We did say there would be Elseworld stuff. I mean, we already know there's an animated Elseworlds Nightwing and Jason Todd Robin thing coming next year. So
there we go.
It's never out of the realm. So let us know what you guys think. We love to know if you're on YouTube, let us know down in the comments. If you're not, let us know on social media at WATB Pod. You can find me on social media at Mr. Mike Shea.
And you can find me on Twitter at Mr. J Ninja. That
is going to do it for this episode of We Are the Batman. We will see you guys again next time. Same bat time, same bat podcast channel.
Bye-bye.